Thanks for joining us.
Good evening, Brian. It's very good to be with you.
Now, you're with the Reserve Bank of Australia, yeah?
I'm hoping everybody's with us, to be honest, Brian. That's our fervent desire. We are trying to help, Brian. It's pretty important.
Now, there's been a lot of talk recently about the Reserve Bank's decision-making process.
Yeah, well, there often is, Brian. If you look historically, there often is.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah. Have you been on Facebook?
Yeah.
We can't find a friend, Brian. We've been there for a year and a half. We can't get a response.
We've had how many interest rates of late?
Rises?
Yep.
200, Brian.
200?
I beg your pardon. 200 basis points, I see here. 200 basis points.
Right.
We've done it in very, very small increments.
How often?
About once a fortnight, Brian, for 18 months.
Is this normal? Is it?
Well, to be fair, Brian, these are not normal times.
Or how do you mean? In what way?
Well, we had a government in this country at one time.
Yes, and what happened?
I haven't finished, Brian.
Sorry.
We had a government in this country at one time which claimed to be responsible for keeping interest rates low.
Yes, and were they?
Well, no, they weren't responsible, and no, they weren't low.
Oh, I thought they were.
No, they weren't low, Brian, and the cost of real estate doubled in exactly that period, so it was a bit character building if you lived in a house.
Yeah, all right, if you lived in a fence.
Okay, if you lived in a hedge, Brian, or a nest. But in a dwelling, you were in a bit of strife.
Sure. What about the credit card rate?
Well, about 19%.
That's very high.
It's ludicrous, Brian. I mean, I wouldn't pay it.
Why would anyone pay 19% for a credit
Well, because
card?
they haven't got any money. I mean, desperate people will pay those rates, Brian.
Yeah, but hang on, how can they pay it back then?
They can't. They need to borrow more money to pay it back.
Sorry, they need to borrow more money to pay back what they already borrowed?
Indeed, Brian. A lot of people in this country are living on credit.
So that must be very hard for the RBA.
It's terribly difficult for them, obviously, and also very difficult for us, Brian. But we have a job to do.
Curb inflation, I would have thought.
Indeed. And we decided a couple of years ago that interest rates needed to go up by about 4%.
And you've done that in bits, haven't you?
We have, Brian. Interest rates have been raised on 8 separate occasions.
Oh, 7 times, I think, actually.
7, is it?
Yeah.
Whoops. No, you're right, Brian. I stand corrected. We haven't done the 8th yet.
Sorry?
We haven't done that one. Yeah, sorry, that last one I was counting that as
When's that one coming?
What are you doing Friday, Brian? I'd take a hat.
Good God.
And some boots. And a good sturdy coat.